right, Schwing Dynasty, happy Halloween, happy Thursday, end of the week for us here in Doha. We got about 6 more until our winter break coming up, 6.5 more weeks until our winter break. And we are on the downturn side of our season here. We are moving towards the playoffs every single week. It's getting more and more crunch time. So got a big episode today for the commish picks. I'm going to do a little get to know you section. If you've ever seen Snoop Dogg's Bossin' Up, you might be familiar with the song Get to Know You. What's your name? Now, I mean get to know you differently than Snoop Dogg's character does in Bossin' Up. If you've never seen Bossin' Up, I highly suggest you watch it. It's a good movie. But we're going to do a little get to know you section in today's video. I want this league to grow in its familiarity with each other. So I highly recommend you all friend each other on Facebook. Start seeing each other's lives a little bit, build the comfort and familiarity with each other so that you are more comfortable to tear each other down. That's the goal of this, after all, everybody, is to have a friendly, angry environment where we can talk shit and mess with each other and build up that league camaraderie that way. So yeah, get to know each other. Look each other up on Facebook. We're all on the Messenger thing. We're all on Facebook. There's no one here who's like all new agey and wants to stay off Facebook. We're all Vicks to the Zuckerberg. So just gotta get to know each other. Get to know you. All right, so we're gonna do a little get to know you section in the picks today. So as I go through, I'm gonna introduce you guys to the best of my abilities. It may not be the things you necessarily would say about yourself, but I'm the commissioner and I'm the one making most of these videos, so I'm the one who gets to talk. Y'all know me already. That's the one thing that I have going for me, is that I have all of you wonderful people in my life already. I'm the only person in this league who knows every other person in this league. That's what happens when you're the commissioner and you invite everybody. You know everybody. So when I make fun of you guys or when I talk shit about you guys, I know you personally, so it's easier for me to do that. I know Mark has done a good job of making fun of people because he joined this league for that reason. He wants that social interaction, that camaraderie of talking crap. So I've got some pictures here of you guys. All of them should be acceptable. No one should be worried about the pictures I'm going to show. They're not trying to make fun of anybody. Try to get your families in here so that the rest of the league can get a little look at who you guys are, where you're from, what your story is. And I'm going to just share little things that I know about you. Some of you guys I've known a lot longer than others. Obviously, my brothers I've known long. I've known Sean most of his life, since we were little. I knew his sister. I was in school with her. Mark and Lucas I've known a little more recently. JD and Daryl since I've been in Doha. Bert since I got to Doha. Phil, we met in college through my sister, and so I've had varying degrees of interaction with each of you. I've known each of you for years now, though, and so I want you guys to get to know each other. So we're gonna do a little get to know you section of this video here, and I hope you guys like it. I hope you get to know each other and make this league's kind of camaraderie grow. So let's get started with the picks, though. I'm gonna start again. I will leave the game of the week for the very end. And I'm going to jump right in with myself against my brother Adam. So Adam and I are playing this week. I am 5-3. I'm in that group above Sean. Sean is our median at this point. So I'm in the Uber Sean group. And Adam is at 1-7. He's at the bottom of the league. Right now, the projection is 183 to 141. The keys to this game is that I have the highest projection of the week and Adam has the second lowest. So the key is just if things play out, if no horrible thing happens, I should win this game. And so that's all there is to it. So now the get to know you section, okay? Get to know you. That's Adam. That's on one of their family vacations, I think last summer to Europe. That's my niece Kylie. Adam's wife, Cara Lee, not the greatest picture of all of them here. I just got Adam there. Nephew Kellen, nephew Quinn. Looks like they've all been walking and tired, but that's them. Wonderful family. As you can see, Adam and I look like brothers, look similar. Adam went, obviously he grew up in Portland with, my family being there. They did live in Houston, Texas for a couple of years when we moved back when I was a baby. Adam had lived in Oregon with my parents before, then they moved to Houston, then they moved back to Portland. Adam was in school at the University of Montana, go Grizz. His nickname there was the Big Red Pimp. He married his wife Cara Lee right out of college, and they have 3 awesome kids. They live in Oregon City. Adam is a track coach and a high school history teacher. He was awarded the track coach of the year, something like that, for Oregon State Athletic Association, because his Oregon City kids had just dominated their conference and the state meet for a couple of years, and he was getting the most out of that. He is getting the most out of that program. So big success there. All right, so that's the get to know you section for Adam. One more look at the pic here. Yep, the family resemblance there. Okay. All right, good. So I've got myself winning and going to 6-3, and Adam dropping to 1-8. All right. Next game up is JD against Mark, and I got to get my pictures straight here. Got to get them in the right order. All right, JD and Mark. So right now they are both 3-5. This was very close to being my pick for game of the week, but with 2 3-5 teams, there's a bigger game kind of on the docket in our league than a 2 3-5 teams playing. But the projection's very tight. 155 for JD, 158 for Mark. This game has this is a week full of big implication games. These guys, one of them is going to move much closer to the playoff standings, and one of them is really going to have an uphill battle. The keys to this game, it's a quarterback duo. It's a duel, sorry. Lamar Jackson against Russell Wilson. That's a very exciting quarterback matchup. Lamar is projected for 28 points, and he is going up against the New England defense, so that definitely puts him behind the 8 ball there a little bit. And Russell Wilson, they're playing against Tampa Bay. A good defense, good secondary. They've done pretty well against the pass this year, but you got to like Russell Wilson over Lamar Jackson there just because of the New England defense. Carlos Hyde and Melvin Gordon for JD against Mark Ingram and Chris Carson for Mark. That's a really good running back duel as well. I'm picking Mark here because of the Russell Wilson over Lamar Jackson side. You just don't want to go up against a quarterback playing New England, but I really do hope that Lamar has a lot of success against New England, because Steve's defense needs to take a nosedive. All right, let's jump into the get to know you section. So this is Jermaine Dillard, affectionately known to us all as JD. Maybe not the best picture he would want. I don't know. I looked through his Facebook. He's had some hilarious ones from when he was younger. Not hilarious, but some pictures from when he was younger that I could have chose. But this was one with him and his wife Jennifer. Lovely couple. Obviously, they are taking care of their daughter right now. I haven't gotten to see them since then, but our thoughts are still with you guys, JD, and hoping that. Everything's getting better there, and she's showing some good progress. So that's JD and Jennifer. JD is from Los Angeles, the Los Angeles area. I met him. He was a military man, career military. He retired, and now that he's retired, he's still collecting that awesome retirement paycheck from the military. He gets to be a house husband to Jennifer. He gets to stay home. He's a big sports fan. Loves Jack Daniels. I don't know if he loves Jack Daniels as much as that's what he can get here, but loves the bourbon and Coke. And had a lot of fun with JD since we've been in Doha. He's moved to a different part of town now. It's a little harder to see him, but great dude, nice dude. So that's JD right there, and that's Mark. Okay, we'll talk about Lucas later, but that's Mark. So I was gonna choose a picture of Mark with his family, but There's no joke here. I'm not trying to make a joke, and I know what Mark is thinking. I just like this picture. It's a good picture. So here's Mark, and there's Lucas, who we're going to talk about later. So Mark has a lovely wife, Julianne, who I work with. She's another 5th grade teacher with me, and then their daughter, Miley. Mark and Miley, my son Mark and Miley are good friends. Known Mark since back in Madras. Brooke has known him since the first time she was in Madras. They're the reasons we're in Doha. They came over here and we followed them over. Mark is a musician. He's a gamer, kind of, not a full gamer, but he likes the video games. He's a partier. He's always a yes man. He's like, yep, we can do that. Let's go. He was part of what's called the Oregon Beer Force back in Oregon. So he likes his booze, likes his beers, especially good beers, IPAs. And he is straight. But just to throw it out there, there's nothing going on there. So he's a good dude. He's a great dude. He's a very welcoming, friendly guy. So that's Mark and JD for the get to know you portion of today's show. Okay. So hopefully you guys find each other. Keep this camaraderie growing. I'm picking Mark to win that game because of Russell Wilson. I think I said that. So that would move Mark to 4-5 and drop JD to 3-6. He's got a good team, though. Really, he does. At the beginning of the year, it didn't look like a great team, but JD's scoring points. Okay, next game. I got to get my papers back in order here. Next game is going to be Bert versus Lucas. Let me get my pictures out here for the get to know you section. Okay, Bert versus Lucas, 2 5-3 teams. Another huge game with huge implications. One of these guys is well, they're both going to be at or around the Sean mark or higher. Lucas is 5-3, Bert's 5-3. The projection right now is 164 for Bert to 173 for Lucas. The keys to the game is that currently Lucas has Christian McCaffrey in the flex, or he can, really we can look at that as Lev Bell in the flex, and that's up against Miles Sanders, who may not play. He got hurt last week at the end of a big play. I looked at Bert's bench. There's no awesome replacement. No dude projected for more than 10 points on the bench to replace him. So I think that Bert's going to struggle there with Christian McCaffrey, Lev Bell, and well, that's the thing. Lucas has Austin. No, that's Steve. I can't remember who Lucas has in his third spot. I'd have to look that up. That's a fail on my part. But anyways, so I think Lucas is going to win this. I think Christian McCaffrey is just going crazy, and with Bert rolling out Miles Sanders right now, and him being uncertain for this game, I'm looking at a victory for Lucas. That's what I'm predicting here, which would move Lucas to 6-3 and drop Bert to 5-4, both with winning records, both still in good playoff position, but trying to get back into it for that loser of that game. All right, here comes the get to know you section. Let's start with, we got Bert first on the lineup here. So that's Mr. Bert right there. That's his wife, Maya, and their daughter, Gaia. They also got a little daughter, Elon, who was born here in Doha, and Bert. So Bert was, along with Mark, really one of my first... I knew Mark back in Oregon, but Bert was like one of the first dudes I became friends with here in Doha. Met him when he came here. They had previously taught in Vietnam. Now they are living in Thailand, so he's living his best life out there. Bert is Cajun. Okay, so he's a Cajun fella. His wife is Colombian, so that's a fiery duo right there. Bert and I started playing some music with Mark and Lucas, and since Bert and Lucas left, Mark and I haven't played yet, so I guess we know who was really keeping that tied together. It's not me. No, it was not me. But just a real smooth dude, real laid-back guy, he's cool as a pineapple smoothie. Wow, I butchered that. Cool as a pineapple smoothie, which is his wife's drink of choice, by the way. Next up, we got Lucas. Okay. You see Lucas here with his wife Jill and their son. He's got 2 sons, Jeff and Jake. Real names Leo and Pax, but I call them Jeff and Jake. Jake is a new one for you, Lucas. I met them here in Doha. Mark had become friends with Lucas. They moved to the Pearl together. Their families moved to the Pearl together, not Mark and Lucas. And he's got his wife Jill there, their sons. Now they have moved on to Albania, and very close to Croatia and Italy, a wonderful place apparently. He's a great musician, great guitarist, good singer. He's very laid back, super nice dude. Had a lot of fun with Lucas when he was here, and we definitely miss him. Okay, so that's Bert and Lucas's game. I'm picking Lucas to win that, and we are on to Phil versus Sean. Phil and Sean. And if you have done the math, that means you know who the game of the week is at this point. So we got Phil versus Sean. We got a 2-6 Phil versus 4-4 Sean. Sean is the Sean meter, the Sean metrics, the Sean scale. I can't remember what I'm calling it. He is the midpoint of our league right now. He's the only player sitting at 4-4. If you're above him, you're in playoff contention. If you are below him, you are in danger. And if you are him, you are confused. Okay. This is not... There's not a lot going on in this game. Phil is projected for 74 points, and Sean is projected for 154. Phil's entire team is basically injured or on bye this week. It's ridiculous how many players he has out. Not a lot of keys to this game. Phil's team is in trouble this week. They're going to have trouble putting up points, and Sean's team is projected to be very, average to good in our league. 154 is about the midpoint because Sean is the midpoint of our league. So I predict Sean to win this game and move to 5-4, which would move him above the Sean scale, and he would be replaced on the Sean scale by someone else. I'm looking to find out who that might be. Mark, probably at 4-5. So yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see who ends up being the Sean scale next week. And that would move Phil to 2-7 in a season he probably wants to have come to an end so he can get to that draft. All right, let's do a little get to know you. Phil was the first on the list, so we'll start with him. So this is Phil making my son cry. Okay, so, this is Uncle Phil, by the way. Phil and I go back to college together. We're roommates. He's my brother. Brother-in-law, still my brother. Here, Mark cry at Christmas. This is Mark's first year of Christmas and Mark's second year of Christmas. Happy boy. Phil is from Yuba City, California. He's a huge Kings fan. We were roommates in college. Funny story about Phil. We had a beer pong tournament in our house that lasted about, 2 months. We had a whole league schedule. I like to set these things up, by the way. So we had a whole league schedule. We had playoffs, and it finally came down to Phil in the championship game. Just hammered. He was so hammered. We never should have allowed that game to take place that night. He was on the verge of winning, and then all of a sudden he stumbled or something and knocked every one of his cups off the table. Just oh, it's such a funny memory in my mind. I can just picture it. Just this build-up for months of a beer pong tournament. The championship game, Phil's just yelling at people, I'm going to kick your ass. And then all of a sudden, just whack. I think he tried to block the shot. And he just crushed every cup right off the table. Just smashed them all. Lost the tournament. It was just all of us just sitting there like, man, goddamn. All of that build-up for either the worst or the best ending to a tournament I have ever seen. It was heartbreaking, it was sad, and it was hilarious all at the same time. I'll never forget that. All of that build up to just like yelling and cups flying, beer everywhere. Oh my God. It was a disaster. So good. All right, so that's Phil. That's a little look into Phil's life. All right. Next part of the get to know you, Sean. This is Sean. That one, just in case you're curious. Not the hot one. Sorry, Sean. Anyway, so this is Sean. Sean with his lovely wife here. I've known Sean forever. He's like a little brother to me. I grew up with his sister, Jessica, who Steve's wife. So Steve and Sean are brothers-in-law. Sean was always the little guy that was around when we were hanging out in college, having parties at his house when his mom was out of town, stuff like that. And then one day Sean comes down to U of O, and he moves down to U of O when I'm still there. I started college late. I started college when I was about 20 at U of O. So I graduated late, and that gave me 1 year to be down there when Sean was there. And so all of a sudden, then the little guy who was hanging out, getting mad at his sister for drinking and stuff she shouldn't have been doing when he was younger, all of a sudden is at U of O with us, partying with us. And I at my house, we had a party, and I was upstairs doing, illicit activities, whatever was going on, and came downstairs, and there I find Sean standing in my living room with a girl who had a dress on, and this girl was like ginormous up top, and the dress was not, and so those things were like piling out. And there's Sean just like playing bongos on those things. She was just standing there smiling, and he was just like just right on those. So I was like, well, Sean has grown up. There we go. Sean's just playing the boob drums in my living room. So hopefully his wife's not watching this video with him. Lovely lady, great, wonderful, great. Okay, so we are. That's Sean. That's Sean in a nutshell, just living his best life here. All right, so I'm picking Sean to win that game, obviously. Sean to go to 5-4, Phil to go to 2-7 or whatever it is. All right, on to the very last game, the game of the week. Daryl versus Steve. Oh, these little kids are trying to get in here, but they didn't know that I found a way to lock the door finally, because it's been very difficult to lock the door, but I finally found out how, and they're not allowed in anymore. All right, Daryl versus Steve. It is the recess right now. That's why I'm able to do this. Got a little prep and recess right now. Daryl versus Steve. Game of the week. 5-3 Daryl, 7-1 Steve. Close projection right now. 153 for Daryl, 151 for Steve. Keys of this game come down to the Baltimore offense versus the New England defense. The game between JD and Mark will play huge factors in this game because they have Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram are in that game. So that is the key to this matchup: is can Baltimore undo the magic that is the New England defense? It's a good offense. I cannot picture Bill Belichick and that defense letting Lamar Jackson do what Lamar Jackson does. We'll see. This is a huge test for whether Lamar Jackson is good or whether Lamar Jackson is great. And it's probably not necessarily fair to put that all on this game, but I guess what I'm saying is, if Lamar Jackson doesn't do well in this game, he's still a good quarterback. If he does well in this game, he's automatically great. I mean, he would definitely be great. If he struggles in this game, he could still be a great quarterback, but it's harder to tell. This is just what New England does to people. They shut them down if they want to. All right, so one of the other keys is that the Panthers defense, so Daryl's favored by 2 points in this, but they've got the Panthers defense playing against Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill, and they've got the Panthers defense getting 10 points projected, and then they've got the New England defense at 9.3 points projected. I just don't know what it's going to take, what the Patriots have to do for the sleeper app to start projecting them at no less than 15 points a game every single game. It's crazy to me. So I think that Steve's going to win this game, and it's going to be because of that fucking defense, like usual. So that's why I projected Steve going 8-1, Daryl dropping to 5-4. That'll leave a big group at 5-4, and another group at 6-3. We're getting to crunch time here, but Steve continues to stay out front. So let's take a look. Let's get to know Daryl and Steve here. This is Daryl and his wife Kanisha here. Got the Phillies hats on. These are some Philly folks here. All right, that's Daryl and Kanisha. Super nice. Daryl is from Philly, as I said. Yes, he's got his wife Kanisha. Daryl moved to Doha last year. He had been here kind of off and on before that, but I think full-time moved here last year, if not 2 years ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I'm having trouble remembering that now. It's been all the years in Doha are starting to blend together for me. Excellent cook. Thought about trying to do a work at a restaurant job here, but unless you are a world-renowned chef or Filipino or Indian, you're not going to get a job here because you're either the chef or you make 40 cents an hour. So that's Daryl ran into some problems with that. They just looked at him like, you don't, no sir, you're an American. We don't pay Americans money. You know, we don't pay enough for Americans to want this job, so don't take it. Anyways, so he instead has started his own home business, cooking amazing lunches that he delivers to school, vegan options, lots of vegan food. His wife is a vegan, non-vegan options as well. Just a super interesting dude. He's really developed his ability to cook that vegan food, and it is delicious. So that's Daryl, and then next we got Steve. All right. So that's Steve and his wife Jessica. This is Sean's sister, who I grew up with. They met in Colorado at the University of Boulder, where Steve is from. Colorado. He's a Broncos fan. He went to Boulder. He's become a Duck fan, but he's still a Buffs fan as well. JD and Jennifer lived in Denver for a while, so y'all both lived in Colorado. Story about Steve. I already said that. Steve and his wife had wine parties and wine and cheese parties, ugly sweater parties every Christmas. Always super fun. It always started out, kind of classy. You're drinking wine, you're having some cheese, and then the wine tasting started. There was like a secret wine, so you went around, you drank glasses out of these bottles that were in bags, and then we voted on what was our favorite. But as you're doing that, everyone's drinking glass after glass, and then the party would always devolve into just a shit show. And by the end of it, we're shotgunning Coors Light in his backyard. That's just sort of what happens when Steve is around. The nicest dude. I called him Ranger Rick before. Just the nicest guy. Him and his wife, classy, fun. But the second that wine tasting started, all of a sudden the party devolves, and then Sean and Steve and I are in the backyard shotgunning Coors Light every single year. It was nice when they lived about a mile from my mom's house, because I'd be home for Christmas and I would just be able to stumble home from their house back to mom's pad where Brooke and I, or just me or whatever, we're staying for the holiday break. So that's Steve. That's our get to know you section. So I'm picking Steve to win, me to win, Mark to win, Lucas, and Sean. That's my five picks for the week. Damn, 28-minute video. I bet you guys aren't even gonna watch all this. I'm probably talking to nobody at this point. All right, everyone. I'm gonna call it quits now. Peace out.